let's try it again. We're live. Nick,
So- Sorry.
I'll let you take over where you kind of stopped at. So
Well, I stopped at the fact that something's up with my computer. The internet's fine. Everything else is connected to the internet. It's once I connect everything, I seem to be having some problems. So apologize, everyone. Where was I going with that? Essentially, we're going to talk non-spoilers for a little bit here before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty details of this film. Um, I guess first off, Bud, you can hear me, right? I'm on my phone, so I just
yeah,
want to make
yeah.
sure we're all
I,
good. Okay.
I hear you good. I think the chat can tell me. Can you guys hear Nick good?
Yeah,
I
they
think
don't
it'll be
want to. They don't
fine.
want to hear me. Yeah, they don't want to hear
Do
me
you
anyway.
want to hear him?
Uh,
Number one, do you
yeah.
care what he thinks after his series of technical fiascos? Do you care what
This is
Nick
my.
Push thinks of Scream?
It's my deep-seated plan to not be going live anymore. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Sounds like you need to take that thing to the Geek Squad and figure out what's going on. I bet you just need to like reinstall something. I don't.
I hope. Yeah,
I think it's a
hopefully.
software thing.
Probably. Oh well, we're at the mercy of this shit, so I obviously got to get it taken care of. But
So Scott's here.
what?
Yes, we're gonna talk a little bit without spoilers, just to give people, people that like our channel, they're gonna tune in. So that, they're gonna go see the movie tomorrow or over the weekend. Just kind of give them some time to get our thoughts before we dole out the spoilers. But we will get to the spoilers. So Nick, what did you think? What are your initial thoughts?
Here's what I thought. My initial thoughts, and I've been thinking about this since the movie ended, and a little over an hour ago, hour and 20 minutes ago. I don't fucking know how to think. There's so many things that I thought were cool, and so many things that I just need to let it marinate for a while. If you're asking for my, gun to my head, uh, first thoughts: do you like it? Do you hate it? I would say I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and it was certainly a different Scream film, which I know is going to piss a lot of people off. For me, I think that's probably going to end up being a strength of this movie in the long run. But overall, yeah, I enjoyed the experience. I, but there's just a lot of things that I just need to let marinate. I'm just not sure how I feel about. How about you?
It, so is it because maybe you let your imagination run wild a little bit about what they could be doing in this one? Like the big playground of New York City, like
Yeah. It's interesting. We come at this, not just us two, but anyone that watches YouTube channels where you're just breaking down Scream, you're breaking down these horror movies. We're not, someone that's just, oh, a new Scream movie's out. Let's go check it out. We're sitting here talking theories. We're breaking down, things that maybe Ghostface said on the phone in the trailer that might or may not be in the movie. We're breaking things down so much that, like you said, our imagination runs wild, thinking about a lot of cool things that can come from
yeah.
that. So then when that maybe does not happen, it's hard to know how to feel. Um, if I'm going to compare this movie to any recent movies, I would probably compare it a little bit to and not exactly. It's not apples to apples, but I would probably compare it a little bit to like a Halloween Kills version of this new trilogy, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know
Um,
if I'd go there. I think it was better than Halloween Kills.
mhm.
Um, it, it's not better than Scream 2. I can't go there. I think it's probably going to be the third best in the franchise for me. I just want to just preface this, when you first see a movie, and I'll say it with Scream 5 last year. Initially, I didn't like it. Like I wasn't really impressed. But as the years gone on, watched it a little bit more. I like it a little bit more. So my initial reaction to Scream 6 is I really enjoyed it. I thought they did a lot of really good things here. Can we just say Roger L. Jackson, like, welcome back to bringing some menace back to Ghostface. Like, I thought
Yeah.
Roger L. Jackson is the Ghostface voice, did a phenomenal job in this one. I thought some of the best Ghostface stuff that we've had Probably, I don't know. Scream 4 had some pretty good stuff, but very
This
good
movie was
stuff.
fucking brutal.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
brutal at certain points.
yeah.
It felt like they
Like I love the phone
really.
call with Gail. It was Gail's first time being on the phone with Ghostface, and it was well worth the wait.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. I didn't even realize that till someone said something
Yeah,
maybe a month ago or something. I'm like, really? But it's right. Randy's the one that answered her phone in Scream 2.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I was guilty of the same thing too, but she was just running around grabbing people's phone.
yeah,
Yeah, and she was never actually on the phone with Ghostface, so it was worth the wait in that
yeah,
regard.
it was.
So let's talk about New York City. Big move to New York City. We're usually in Woodsboro. Scream 3, they went to Los Angeles. So this is kind of a new playground for the Scream franchise. How do you think the New York looked and played into the Scream 6 movie?
I think it could have been any decently big city, and it would have been the exact same fucking movie. I thought it was a little bit of a waste. It's cool to be in New York. I get that. It was cool that they had, high rises and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But you could have told me this was Washington, D.C. and the suburbs of Washington, D.C. or Baltimore or any other city that has, kind of apartments and bodegas and
Yeah.
things like that. And there was nothing. And obviously, there's a subway, but there's nothing really that screamed New York City to me. I mean, maybe not as bad. Well, maybe
No, it's as bad. It's as bad. They had the establishing shots at the very
but
beginning, and then it was just you could tell it was in New York. It was too clean. Number one, anybody who's been to New
true.
York City, way too clean. Um,
But at least Jason Takes Manhattan had one scene in Times
hey,
Square, right?
spoilers, spoilers.
Oh
We're
yeah,
not
yeah,
we're
yeah.
not doing the spoil.
Sorry.
Yes,
It's hard, man. It's hard. You're
it's
right.
hard.
You're right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So yeah, we'll touch on a couple more things, and we'll really lay into the spoilers. Really break it down. So yeah, New York City kind of fell a little bit flat. Um,
Without getting into spoilers, if you had to choose a favorite character from this movie, um, who would you choose as a favorite character? Just
uh,
kind of off the top of your head.
I'm gonna have to go with Samantha. I thought she did.
Yeah,
They're doing a really good job with her. Really good character development. I can kind of now. Don't take this the wrong way. She'll never be Sydney, but I kind of root for her now, like I would Sydney. I
yeah,
want to
she was
root for
good.
her. She did a
She was
very
good.
good
I
job.
enjoyed I enjoyed Tara a lot too.
Yeah,
I,
Tara
I
was given
thought
a
the
lot more to do in this movie, and yeah,
Yeah, and
very wise.
obviously, kind of without getting spoilerish, a lot of the crux of the movie was their relationship as sisters, and I thought they
Hmm.
both kind of knocked it out of the park, so to speak.
All right, so we have some a whole host of new characters. We have Ethan, Chad's roommate, Annika, who is Mindy's girlfriend. Who else do we have? What's her name? Quinn Bailey. She's a roommate with Samantha and Tara.
Yeah,
I guess they all live on or near the university, which the university really didn't play very as big a
no,
role as say as like Windsor College did in Scream 2.
right,
Like I didn't feel. Remember in Scream 2 we had the sorority parties and the mixers and all that, and that's felt like college campus was. I mean that's where it was, but.
yeah,
So and then what other character we had the Sam's neighbor Danny, who I thought was a good character. You know
yeah,
we'll get
yeah,
into
yeah,
what happens with him later, but yeah, they built a nice little new group of characters, new suspects, so to speak. And then, of course, Detective Bailey, played by Dermot Mulroney, um, kind of filled the void of Dewey. Dewey was kind of the
yes,
law. So we had, and then, of course, they brought Kirby back, and we'll get into Kirby in a minute. Uh, the things we're going to say about Kirby. But that just kind of set it up. Did you see it in 3D before?
I did not. I could have, but I would have had to wait an hour. So
Yeah, so I saw it in
I figured I'd just
3D.
go after wait.
Not needed. Uh,
No.
don't trip over yourself headed to the theater to see this thing in 3D. It's totally not needed. Um, they just up converted it to 3D, just probably to squeeze a few more dollars out. But definitely don't need to see it in 3D. Wasn't a lot shot for 3D. So let's go to the chat here. Let's see who we got. We
Yeah,
got
we got
Blake and Ronnie are
some
here.
new names.
Uh, he's I guess Ronnie's gonna leave before the spoilers. I just wanted to. And then Blake looks like he's here for the spoilers. How shitty is it? Keith A, how's it going? Haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Welcome back. He didn't like it. He thought the movie was 2 out of 5. Scott, did you watch the end credit scene? Yes, there was an end credit scene. Was it anything important? No, it was not. It was a joke. Matt Kreider, he's just listening while he's writing. Welcome back. Scott, he's watching it after work tomorrow, even though he was spoiled in the. Yeah, but a lot of people were spoiled in the comment sections.
Yeah.
Tracy plans the end credit scene was just basically nothing. She's right. Sky High Gain, seeing it in 3D today. Alley Girl. So the question is, was it better than Ends? You want to take that one? Was it better than Halloween Ends?
It's so hard to compare movies in other franchises, especially the night, within less than 2 hours after we've just finished this one. Um, yeah, probably.
It was better than Ends by a fucking mile. Like by a Seabiscuit mile. It was better. I mean, y'all didn't totally hate Halloween Ends, but I mean, Scream 6 was just on a different level. You could tell that
I'm,
the love that these filmmakers have for this franchise, especially in this one. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So, what did you think of without spoiling the opening? What did you think of the opening? Was it a strong opening?
yeah. It was. It kind of made my jaw drop actually a couple of different times. It probably easily the most unique opening in the franchise and way better than Scream 4's opening. I'll say that. I'm not a big fan
Mm-hmm.
of Scream 4's opening. Uh, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it kind of set the tone of the movie being different than, following the same formulaic process that Scream movies
Well,
typically have followed.
it did follow it was the same formula. Let's not kid
It,
ourselves. But the opening
um,
was definitely different.
yeah, yes and no. I get what you're saying. It
As Mindy
technically
said, it
was.
was the exact same meta slasher who done it. It was. But what this I will say for this one, they subverted. Like if you went into this thing cold trying to guess who the killers are, they made it really difficult because there were
Yeah,
so
they did.
many suspects, and the way that they chose to, do it this time really
Yeah,
made it tough. Sorry, I
yeah,
was just
I agree.
droning
I
on. I'm
agree.
sorry.
No,
But
you're
back to
good.
the opening. Back to the opening. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I thought the opening was very well done. And like I said, it was unique. And it just set the tone for the movie very well for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where I'd rank the opening, probably right in the middle. Probably right in the middle. Probably rank it maybe. God, it's so hard. Third or fourth, somewhere 3 or 4, probably closer to 4.
Yeah,
How about you?
I think I'm in the same boat. I still think Scream One has the best opening easily. Scream
Oh
Two
yeah.
has an amazing opening as well.
Yep.
So I would say Scream Six and Scream.
3.
I don't even count Five as a real opening because it was a fake opening. They didn't actually kill anybody in the opening. So I would say it's a battle between 3 and 6. Maybe I
Yeah.
would give 6 the edge though.
I'd probably give 6 the edge too. I'm just a little. biased because I love Cotton Weir's character, but
Okay.
six was probably better.
Okay. Okay. So I guess the last bit, the kills. We were kind of led to believe a little bit that this would be on par death count with Halloween kills, and it didn't turn out to be that way. I didn't think there weren't very many kills in this one.
No, but they were brutal as fuck.
I think
It,
Ghostface victims and then the actual ghost faces that died pretty damn close. I guess they went a little wild at the bodega. We didn't have, we don't know who those people were. They're not
True,
characters in
but
the movie. They're just
they
bystanders.
seem to linger. They seem to linger a
Yeah,
little longer on the shots, and a lot of like knives to the face or knives to the gut that the camera really lingered on instead of just showing someone get stabbed and kind of cutting away and then showing their dead body. They
yeah,
really lingered on the pain and things like that.
yeah. They didn't really kill a lot of the new cast of the suspect list. They didn't really dwindle it down much at all. They left a lot of people were on the board at the end, um, for the final act. So, all right, so a lot of deaths. So we won't
But
get
that
into
and
the
that's not
spoilers yet,
necessarily a
but
bad that's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
no, no, no. It
Um,
kept a lot of people on the table and kept you guessing.
yeah.
Very, very hard to figure this one out with some of the things they did, which we'll
Yeah, and
get
they did
into
a
in a
good
minute.
job of always making Ghostface a threat, and always thinking that, whoever's in the room with Ghostface is probably gonna die. I thought they did a good job with that.
Okay, so Kirby Reed is back from Scream 4. She survived her brutal stabbing, which, way they do things now is not, in this franchise, is not a surprise, which we'll get into. What'd you think of Kirby Reed in this? Bringing Kirby
I
back.
thought she was absolutely fucking awful. I
Yeah,
thought I said to you, right, when we were texting earlier, I said, her character and the actress of Hayden, God, it pains me to say this, but was on par with Anthony Michael Hall in Halloween Kills Bad. I was distracted every time she was on screen. I thought the acting that Hayden was doing was pretty fucking terrible. I was just like I said, I was distracted. I was bothered by the dialogue she was using. I
yeah,
didn't like it. I didn't like
yeah.
it. I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, I just want to clarify this is not Hayden Panettiere's fault. This is
Well, maybe.
what they wrote
Well,
on the page for her,
it,
and
it
making
could be her fault. It could be her fault.
making Kirby Reed an FBI agent was just not a good choice. It was just not wise. They should
Maybe
have done
maybe I'm gonna
anything.
read
Yeah,
reviews. Maybe I'm gonna read reviews and find out I'm in the absolute minority here.
I
You
don't
know,
know
I
that you will be. Yeah,
I
just
don't know.
Kirby was she was just a piece thrown in there, and I just didn't like the FBI agent angle. It didn't really, just didn't work.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
I don't like. It's nothing against her. Like, I was glad to see Kirby. They just didn't give her a lot of strong material to work with. I think
Yeah,
that's fair.
I gain no pleasure in saying this. I loved
Yeah,
her as a
me either.
character. I love her. I love a lot of her movies. For a while there, I had a huge crush on
Now,
her.
now she had a
Um,
scene with Mindy that was great. Like, I felt
yes,
that was
yes,
good.
that
That
was
was
cool.
good
Yes,
Kirby.
yes,
But
I really enjoyed it, and I
yeah,
found myself repeating kind of their answers that they were talking what they were talking about. I found
yeah,
myself saying stuff in my head to see if I could you know guess what they were going to say. It was
yeah.
fun.
All right, so we got Kirby out of the way. Let's go to the motive. Um, were you happy with the? Were you okay with the motive?
I
Did
thought
you
the
feel
motive in
like?
Scream 5 was a lot better, but
Uh,
looking at things full circle from a franchise perspective, I was fine with this motive. At a certain point, what else can you fucking do?
I thought that
How creative can you
yeah,
be?
I thought the third act was phenomenal. I was a big fan of the third act of this movie, much better than Scream
Yeah,
5. Um, and we'll get into it here when we throw up the actual spoiler warning, but It does play back into Scream 5. So, they're kind of this new trilogy. They are connecting them. It's 5 to 6. There's a connection. There's a very clear pattern that they're doing. For Scream 5, they went kind of back to basics. Then Scream 6, where they went from Scream 2 back at the college. A lot of parallels.
Yes.
So yeah. So all right. So we ready to get into the spoilers? We're ready to cut everybody loose who
Let's
doesn't want
talk
to be
spoilers,
spoiled.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sydney.
let's talk
Oh yeah,
spoilers.
we'll talk about Sydney. They did mention Sydney. They gave it. I think Sydney will have to come back at some point. Alex Andrade, welcome. Yes, I think Sydney's not in Scream 6. We'll give that spoiler. I don't think that was any surprise. She's not in Scream 6. She is mentioned. So let's see here. What do we got? Oh, we got Jake Blaster. I can't actually wait to watch this tomorrow. I think you're gonna like it, Jake. Yeah, if you guys don't want to be spoiled, we'll give you a warning here. We're about to get right the fuck into this and break it down. So
See ya,
if you don't
Allie.
want to be spoiled, everybody, now would be the time to check out. We thank you for tuning in and getting our initial thoughts. After you see it, you can come back, check out the spoiler. So
Yeah.
I'll count it down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we ready for the spoilers?
Yeah, let's go, man.
Okay, so the opening scene, Samuel Weaving. She's a professor at the college, Blackmore College. She's the film professor.
Yeah.
And so they started off. She's out on she's meeting a date at a restaurant. Um, so very public setting. So what did you think of the opening?
I liked it.
She's in the
I
bar
really,
waiting for her date.
yeah, every, maybe not everyone. Okay. Besides Scream 2, every other opening has been pretty small scale, right? As far
Mm,
as not being in
right.
public. Scream 2 obviously was very public. And this one, like you said, she's in a bar with people all around her. I thought it was cool. I thought the reasons for her responding to a phone call or answering the phone were very believable. She was meeting a person she'd never met, I assume, on online dating app. I thought it was cool that she is a college professor, like you said, that specializes in slasher movies and the
Yeah.
tropes of slasher movies. I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
I
And
enjoyed the scene.
shockingly, she's not a fan of slasher films.
Yeah, right,
And she's
right,
taught
yeah,
like so when she gets the phone call, she's waiting for her Tinder date. She doesn't get a call from the Ghostface voice. It's actually the voice of the guy that she's meeting, and we'll get into the little twist with this opening, which is fucking definitely breaking new ground in the Scream franchise.
yeah.
Um, so she gets a call, and it's this guy's voice. He's trying to say, "Hey, I'm a dumbass, new to the area. I'm having trouble finding the restaurant," and they go through the spiel, the small talk, and he's like, "Oh, what color is the restaurant?" She's like, "Oh, I think it's red," and he's like, "Well, I need to know because I'm coming down the alley or whatever." So she goes outside, um, and this is kind of where the tension ratchets up. Very public. A lot of people are outside on the street, and this ghost face like, "Hey, I'm coming down the alley. Wave, if you can see me." And she has this big. I like the dress that she had on. It was kind of a throwback to Tatum's outfit from Scream. Remember on the night at the party, the yellow.
Was it? Was it?
Yeah, I thought so.
Hmm. Okay, I thought it was like a white dress. No.
No, it was yellow.
Okay.
So, uh, so yeah, she's lured into the alley and stabbed to death by Ghostface, and then we get kind of it was a first for the franchise where the Ghostface that killed her reveals his mask, and it's that Jason character. I can't remember the guy, Tony Revolori. I think he's the guy, the kind of the asshole from Spider-Man. That
Yeah,
what
I'd
was his
never seen
name?
him before. I don't,
Yeah, he's in Spider-Man. He's
what
somebody in the
Spider-Man?
chat help me. What's his name? He's
What
definitely in
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man. The new one.
Like the oh, I haven't seen any
Flash.
of
I
that
think his
shit.
name's Flash in Spider-Man.
Okay, okay. Yeah, when he took his mask off and the camera showed his face, that's one of the two moments in the opening scene where my jaw hit the fucking floor. I was like, "What?"
No,
Um,
Granddaddy Otaku. Yes, we have not. We're in the spoiler part. We have the spoiler warnings up. We haven't revealed any of the killers yet, but we will. So yeah, we're gonna get it. Yeah, his name was Flash in the Spider-Man, but yeah, he killed our opening victim, played by Samara Weaving. I think her name was Laura, and that was a little bit different. So he gathers his shit, puts his mask away, kind of stalks away into the night, and then this is where we get our twist on the opening. He goes to his apartment, and we find out that he and his roommate, they're there to be the new ghost faces. They're apparently from Atlanta. They've enrolled into the college, and their plan is to kill Samantha and Tara Carpenter. And of course, knowing Scream, these guys think they're going to be Ghostface, but they're not the real Ghostface. So, Nick, what happens next? Jason
he
gets a
gets a
phone
call.
call. He gets a
Yeah, he
phone
gets a
call.
phone call from his roommate or partner, whatever he was, and
Mm-hmm.
is using the Ghostface voice, and he's basically say, and he answers the phone, and was it Jason? Is that what we determined his name is?
Yeah,
Jason's
his
like,
name
I
is
thought we
Jason.
weren't.
Yeah,
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 he's like, I thought we weren't going to use this. I thought we
yeah.
weren't going to use this voice, and the guy's like, well, how did it feel to tell me how it felt to kill her? So he sits down. He turns on the TV, and it's Jason Takes Manhattan,
Yeah,
which is pretty
Jason
cool.
Takes Manhattan, which is a nice
Uh,
touch. Glad they did it.
yeah, yeah, me too, me too. And he's describing what it felt like to kill her. Felt like she was an animal after he stabbed her, and then the ghost face guy, is like, "Hey, I'm in the apartment. Let's play hot or cold." So he humors him. He starts playing, hot or cold, and eventually leads to the refrigerator and says, "You're on fire." He opens the fridge, and his roommate or partner, or whatever, is
Yeah,
dead in the fridge, and the quote unquote real ghost face pops up behind him and stabs him. And basically, I don't know what the dialogue is there. I can't remember, but he basically says, what is it, but like something like you're not the real. I can't remember what it was. Basically, you're amateurs or something like that,
yeah,
right?
you're a bunch of fucking amateurs.
Mm.
And yeah, basically Ghostface is telling them they're not deserving of being the ones to kill Samantha and Tara. And then the Ghostface had a great line because apparently these guys are connected to our Scream 5 killer Richie. Um, they didn't really. I think they were maybe part of the same Reddit
Yeah, they said
subreddit
they
that,
wanted to finish Richie's movie or
and
something,
they
right?
wanted to come to the college, kill Samantha and Tara, and finish Richie's movie. And then Ghostface like, who gives a fuck about movies? And dude, I thought it was
Yeah,
fucking
yeah, yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a great line. As it
so
cuts to the
he
credits or
yeah
cuts to the title card.
cuts to the title card, Scream 6, and then we finally get look at the city, and we catch up with Tara and Sam, and the core four as they have now dubbed themselves,
Yes.
with Mindy and Chad, Tara, Samantha. They're the core four, and then the first scene we seen out of that, Samantha's at her new therapist. She's trying to get help, from all the trauma. Yeah, Wayne Turner Morgan definitely. That's said that no one died that mattered. Chad is a cyborg. Yeah, apparently everybody in this franchise is a cyborg now, except for Dewey.
Yeah.
He's the only one that can get gutted and
Yeah, he was
not
a
walk
cyborg for
away.
a long time.
So Samantha, she's meeting with her new therapist, who's played by what's that guy's name? The guy from
Couldn't
Kittredge
tell you.
from Mission Impossible. Anyway, he's the therapist. Everybody, they kind of kept him from the marketing. Didn't really
Mhm.
show him much. So everybody was like, oh, well, he's going to be the rich killer or whatever. But no, he just ended up being a nobody, a therapist. And, Samantha tells this guy, what she did to Richie, and said that she, basically it felt right for her to kill her. So this guy's, well, fuck you. I have to report you So she gets up and leaves, and we find out where everybody's at. There's a big Halloween party. What'd you think of the Halloween party? Did it feel? Let's talk about the Halloween aspect. This takes place on or around Halloween. Did it feel
Yeah.
how? Did you get Halloween atmosphere vibes? Henry
Um,
Cerny, thank you, Wayne.
I I, I liked having people in costumes. I thought they did a pretty good job. Obviously,
Hmm.
especially on the subway scene. But yeah, I was fine with the um, what they did with Halloween.
Hmm.
Obviously, it's not in the Midwest. I'm not expecting, you know, uh, like the Halloween franchise atmosphere. But I thought the Halloween was cool. I thought it was cool that it was set at Halloween. It brought new aspects to certain things, certain scenes, I should say. But yeah, I liked it. And as much as like this is where we're introduced kind of to, like you said, the core four again,
Yeah.
and there was parts of the college party and getting to know them again that maybe dragged a little bit, but it is
Yeah.
necessary to find out where all of these characters are, emotionally, mentally, and how all their relationships are together as a group. As
Yeah.
much as like you just want to see Ghostface running around, you have to have moments like this where we're getting to know these characters again. So I thought it was important, even though it
Yeah.
might not have been the most interesting aspect.
So yeah, what was kind of disappointing about this is between the opening kill and the next kill, there was a lot of table setting, introducing new characters. We go to the party. Tara's out trying to live her life. Under the watchful eye of Sam, she kind of feels smothered. But they go to this house party somewhere, costume house party. And we're introduced to Mindy and her new girlfriend Annika. Um, I think the woman who played her name was Dakota something. She was good. And
Yep.
then Chad and his new nerdy kind of virgin friend Ethan. So we were kind of introduced to two new characters, and then Tara goes home, wonders where the fuck Samantha, or I'm sorry, not Tara. Samantha goes home and wonders where the fuck Tara is, and we're introduced to her new roommate Quinn, um, which ends up playing a huge role in this movie. Quinn. Uh, and so, that we're kind of learn some of the new characters, set the table a little bit, and then we finally. Am I missing anything? Anything
No,
important?
nothing important.
We're setting the table, and then they're all back at their apartment after, and they find out that, of course, the two or three bodies that have been found, uh, and they're kind of worried. And then it's revealed that Quinn, their roommate, her dad is a detective with the NYPD, and they're kind of freaked out that, oh my god, this shit's starting again. And someone says, "Hey, Quinn, your dad's a cop. Let's call your dad." So Quinn calls her dad, and it just so happens he's right at the crime scene where they find Samantha's driver's license at the murder scene. Jason and his partner. So what'd you think of that? So right off the bat, we learned something about these killers. They're trying
Yeah,
to set up Samantha for this.
yeah. It showed. I thought it was very realistic that the survivors, and especially Samantha, the survivor of a horrible tragedy, would get blamed for orchestrating it. I think that's very now
Mm.
with social media and the internet. I feel like that would happen. There's some conspiracy nuts about everything,
Yeah, and
although
a lot of
some
people
have
have
been true
spread
lately. But yeah,
online rumors that Samantha was the actual killer in
yeah.
Woodsboro.
So
Yeah,
Samantha is not only dealing with surviving the attack, but having a good portion of the population thinking she orchestrated it, and she's a killer, and things like that. So I thought that was very realistic. I thought it brought an interesting element to it, and so right away we're kind of introduced that Samantha's past or backstory or whatever is going to play a role in the motive of the killers.
yeah. So Samantha gets on the phone with Detective Bailey while he's at the scene investigating Jason, and I can't remember his roommate's name. But he lets her know, hey, I was just about to call you anyway, and I found your driver's license. I'm gonna need you to come down to the station. So this is where kind of, after all that table setting, Samantha and Tara, you know, Samantha's gonna head out to the police station, and Tara comes out. She's like, "I'm coming with you," and Samantha was like, "No, no, you need to go in there and you need to stay." And she's like, "I thought you wanted me to fucking stay with you." So off they go, and kind of on their way down, Samantha gets a phone call from Ghostface finally, and the little twist here is that she had Richie Hirsch's phone number still, all his contact information was still in her
Yes.
phone, and she got the call from Richie. His face pops up on there, and kind of we're off. Yeah, yeah. Wayne, we will get
Yeah.
into all the plot holes. There are a lot of plot holes in this. Yeah, we know. We'll get into those. So yeah, so Tara and Samantha are finally attacked by Ghostface. What'd you think of that first phone call with Samantha
I
and
thought
Ghostface?
I liked the touch that it was Richie because it's another reason that someone would answer because you're like, oh, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense. Obviously, this is a killer.
Yeah.
But when Ghostface jumped out right away, I didn't expect that.
At
You
first, I
know,
thought it was some like
I thought it was some
costume.
prank.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but it turned out it
Yes,
was
I
the
thought
real
someone would.
guy.
Yeah, I
And
thought they were gonna throw him down. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck? It was just a joke, man." Uh, but no, it was actually him. And then once they started running, I was like, "Oh, bodega!" Right, right away. I was like, "Okay, this is a bodega scene." Um, but yeah, I thought it was cool because it kind of kept me on the edge of my seat there for a little while.
yeah, so yeah, this is where Ghostface chases them into the bodega. We've all seen the bodega from the trailers. They pretty much gave that whole scene away in the trailers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The whole fucking scene was in
Yeah.
the trailers.
Yeah. Which is
Um,
fine. I mean, it's a money scene for marketing.
yeah, so Ghostface kind of goes on a rampage and kills a couple people in the bodega, chases them around with a shotgun, and then we kind of Ghostface leaves the mask that he was wearing on the floor, and that turns out to be the mask. We saw the shrine without all the masks, and we now know why all the masks are there. The Ghostface, kind of a la Scream 3, is leaving a calling card at each scene, and we find
Right.
out. And then this is another plot hole that drives me nuts. And
The
when they
DNA
get
stuff.
the DNA stuff, where they get the DNA back within minutes.
Yeah.
Come on, man! I sent my DNA to Ancestry. That shit took 6 weeks. So, Sam and Tara are at the police station in the interrogation room, and Detective Bailey comes in, throws the mask on. Well, we tested the DNA on this 5 minutes ago, and it's come back to Robbie Kirsch, uh, the guy who tried to kill you last year. So Robbie's DNA is on the Scream mask, and as we go on through victims, um,
I,
they're
I
leaving.
did like I did like though because like we that was obviously Scream 5. Then the next mask has Scream 4. The next mask is Roman from Scream
Right,
3.
it's counting
I like
backwards.
yeah,
Yeah,
I like that they're talking about those movies instead of just always going back to the original. I like that those, they brought up killers in all these other movies. And obviously, with Kirby around, there's a special connection there with what's his face, Rory Culkin's character.
yeah,
But
and it's at this point where they're at the police station where Kirby enters the fray and informs Detective Bailey that she's tracked, two people. She's from the Atlanta field office, uh, and she has been tracking two of the victims. That would be Jason and his partner, who moved from Atlanta to finish Richie's movie. She's been tracking these guys through their social media because they have an unhealthy obsession with Ghostface. So, Kirby's all, well, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. So, Kirby and Detective Bailey seem to start working together on the
yeah,
case. And I'm trying to remember where we go to next. I think we go back. Everybody goes back to their apartment, right?
yep,
And then
yep.
yeah, so Chad, we find out Chad and Tara a little bit sweet on each other. What'd you think of the Tad Chara? God, I can't even talk. The Chad
Chad Terrell.
Tara Chad Tad Chera. What
Initially,
the fuck?
initially, I did not like it. I was sold
Hmm.
on it by the end of the movie. Um,
Yeah, me too.
you know, like at first I was like, do we
It seemed
really
kind of
need these two to
awkward.
get
Like
to?
it was like watching a
Yeah,
brother and sister like think
yeah.
about kissing each other, didn't it?
But yeah, but then it grew on me, because it wasn't like them. It wasn't just, oh, he likes her, she likes him. It wasn't just will they or won't they the whole movie. They had a scene early on, and
Hmm.
then they were nice to each other. And there was another comment halfway through the movie by Mindy saying, "Will you guys just do whatever already?" And then
Right.
at the end they have their moment, and it grew on me. It wasn't thrown in your face, and by the end of the movie, I was invested in both characters enough where I was totally cool with it.
And another thing I want to mention, Detective Bailey and Quinn, they both mention Quinn when she was talking to you know Tara and Samantha. She tells them that her brother died, and then Detective Bailey, I think, tells Samantha and Tara as well that his son died. So already they're kind of laying the tracks for what's to come here. Um, but we
Yeah.
get everybody back together. Everybody's back home. They decide, safety in numbers. We're gonna stay together at our apartment. And there's a new neighbor. Have we brought up the new neighbor, Danny, that
Uh,
Samantha's
the
hooking up with on the kind of on the
on the
down low?
DL.
Yeah, people don't. Everybody doesn't know about her hooking up with the hot neighbor across the road. But yeah, they introduce him. What would you think of Danny as a character? Before we move
Hated
on,
him at first.
you did.
Definitely did. Yeah, I didn't like him at first. But then, a couple more scenes with him, I was like, okay, well, at least I know that he's going to just be a red herring because they're not stupid enough to have it be Sam's boyfriend again. That would
Right.
be not only would that be obvious to the audience, it'd be disrespectful to Sam's character that it should be that fucking dumb again, or
Yeah.
not dumb again, but duped again. It wouldn't be a good look for her character. I ended up liking him. I wasn't sure how old is that guy. I couldn't tell if he
I
was
don't
like
know. It
late
seemed
twenties
like
or late twenties or late 30s. I don't know.
I couldn't tell if it was late 20s or early 50s. It was like
Yeah,
he
right.
it looks a little rough from certain angles.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
anyway,
But he was good. Like, go ahead.
so he lives in the building next door. Kind of his window can see across to Samantha's apartment, and that sets up to the ladder scene that we've all seen in the trailer. That this is where this is going to play in. But
For
he,
me, this whole scene here was easily the best scene in the movie when he
I
looks in the
disagree.
window. You
Disagree.
disagree?
Disagree.
Not the ladder, but when he looks in the window and
Yeah.
sees Ghostface standing over the redhead,
Quinn.
whatever her name
Yeah.
is, yeah, Quinn. When
Yeah.
he
So
sees
every,
Ghostface standing there, I love that.
So yeah, he's over there like folding his laundry, and he sees across into Quinn's bedroom, and Ghostface is she's I don't know who the fuck she was talking to, but Ghostface is kind of standing over her, with the knife, kind of a la
She was a
Randy and
slut. She was a
Scream
yeah, she
One.
was a slut, so she
Yeah,
could have been talking to
yeah. So
anyone.
yeah, that
She's
was
probably
one of the
talking to
things
Jake
they set up.
Blaster.
Yeah, one of the things they set up is that she always has a new guy, and you can always hear him
Yeah,
fucking or whatever. No, Samantha is in her 30s.
no, she's
Samantha,
not.
yeah, she is. She's 32.
No,
Um,
she can't. She can't be because Kirby said she was 30 and she was a senior when Samantha was a freshman. So Samantha would
oh
be
yeah,
like 26, right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, but in real life, she's 32.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Um,
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
so the way they explain it is that Sam and Kirby went to high school together. So Kirby was a senior, Samantha was a freshman. So that doesn't really make a whole lot of fucking sense then, because Kirby's 30. She said, I remember Kirby
She
saying
said
she
she
was
said
30.
30 because Gail made a
Okay,
crack
so
that she's a child and she wasn't
that would
30.
make Samantha 26.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So about 26 for Samantha. So where were we? Everybody's in the apartment downstairs. They're kind of cooking dinner and talking about how they're the core four. Meanwhile, upstairs, Quinn is in her bed alone, and Ghostface is standing over her. Danny, sees all this going on, and he's trying to get their fucking attention. Like he's trying to scream through the window, and then he tries to call, and Samantha's like, "Ah, fuck it, I'm sending him to voicemail." But then they start hearing the noises upstairs, and at first they think it's, oh, Quinn's got another guy up there. She's up there getting her brains fucked out. And then all of a sudden, you hear some screams, and oh shit, everybody goes running, and we have, like you said this was one of your favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Ghostface comes busting through the door, throws Quinn's dead body out into the room, and starts attacking everybody. So why don't you explain to us what happens there as he's attacking?
Well, he was just, oh, so there's a pretty brutal, well, I guess it's not a kill yet, but pretty brutal scene where Mindy's girlfriend gets pushed up against the wall, and he puts a knife right in her fucking like belly button and just goes up. It kind of reminded me of a scene in Friday the 13th, the final chapter, when Jason kills the nurse, kind of like from the stomach up. It doesn't go up as far as Jason, but he just
Yeah,
brutally like stabs her, and she's bleeding out. Mindy gets stabbed in the
she gets her
shoulder, I
arm
believe it
sliced.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then it's kind of a back and forth with them going back and forth with Ghostface shutting. There's two entrances to the room, and then the bathroom. That whose body was that in the bathtub?
I think that was Quinn's
The chick,
hookup that
Quinn's.
they thought she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fucking. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's right. Um, that's a good scene though when they hear the noises and then Ghostface sends all four of them a screenshot of Quinn, him like stabbing Quinn or something like that, right? Although
yeah.
who took that?
Say
That's
what?
a good question. Who took that screen? Who took that picture? But that's a whole nother question, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Because it
good.
wasn't a selfie.
All right.
But yeah, then we get the full scene from the parts we saw from the trailer where they're kind of locked in a room trying to keep Ghostface out, put a dresser in front of the
Mm.
door, and
Yeah, while they all
what's his
one by one go across on the ladder.
yeah, and
Eh,
this is where that guy that we were just talking about, Sam's love interest, kind of earns his stripes a little bit
yeah,
because he pushed the ladder across, and we get to the Mindy's girlfriend last, and Ghostface is just kind of banging the ladder uh, against the windowsill, so until she falls to her death, which she was definitely going to die anyway.
and this was the
Uh,
first time with Mindy. She's always kind of a wise ass. Um, Kind of bring a
mhm.
little bit of depth to her, and she's pretty devastated by her girlfriend Annika falling off this ladder and pretty brutal death.
Yeah, it was.
The first time I've seen Mindy show some genuine emotion, so it was she was pretty devastated. I like that. Um, I want to get to everybody's talking. We'll get to everybody's comments, but so yeah, Annika dies. Everybody else kind of gets away, and everybody congregates um, downstairs. Day. We go from night to day. And Detective Bailey comes out. He's devastated. His daughter is dead upstairs, and he tells him that he's been taken off the case. And this is where we're reintroduced to Gail Weathers. She's back on the
Yes.
job.
Well, actually, I
Uh,
think we were introduced just before that because Tara punched her.
oh yeah, that's right, right, yeah. So yeah, the media comes up. They're trying to get a kind of reminiscent of Scream One, where
Yeah,
Sydney's trying to escape out the back door, and then all the press shows up, and Gail's
yeah.
there,
But Sam goes to punch her, and Gail dodges it,
and then
which was kind
and
of a funny little callback to Scream
and then
One this time.
Tara
She's
just fucking drops her like a hot rock
yeah,
right across,
yeah, yeah. But
and
then yeah, you're right. Gail shows up, and I like the scene where Tara apologizes to Gail, and she goes, "I'm sorry," and Gail's like, "No, you're not." And she's like, "No, I'm not."
yeah, so we find out that the Carpenter sisters are pissed off at Gail because she did, in fact, do what she said she wouldn't do. She wrote a book about the events of Scream 5, cashed in, like she always does, just being Gail Weathers. And so, there's a little bit of heat there between Gail and the sisters. But I can't remember at this point. No, it wasn't this
We're
point where she told him that she found the
take
shrine.
No, this was just where she said she was going to help, and then what happened after this? It was Kirby showed up then too, right? And yeah,
You know what?
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you know what? We totally glossed over the scene earlier where Mindy was holding court on the college out in
yeah,
the
that was a good
quad
scene.
or whatever, and she kind of explained the new rules that they were dealing with. You know, it was a sequel to
Franchise.
the requel, and that it was, I guess, the rules were franchise rules, where basically all legacy characters in
We're
danger,
expendable. Yeah,
and they kind of went one by one about, oh well, Ethan, you're a suspect because you're the nerdy, fucking unassuming nerd guy. You know, kind of everyone.
yeah. And then the new
Tip,
characters said,
typical
well, if we're
Scream scene.
suspects, if
Yeah,
we're suspects, all you are suspects too.
yeah,
Maybe one of you's lost your mind
yeah.
since
So
the
the new
events of
characters will
yeah,
like turn it around on the returning characters. Like, well, we're suspects. You're suspects.
yeah. Yeah,
So
it was well done, I thought.
thanks for tuning in, Wayne.
Yeah, see you, Wayne.
I'm sorry you didn't like it. Yeah, I could see why. If someone didn't like this, I could totally understand it. Totally get it. It did have a lot of ridiculous plot holes. But let's go. Let's kind of reach back to where we were. Um, so I remember
It's
Detective
just
Bailey comes out, says he's off the case, and then what the
it,
fuck happens?
this isn't where they set the trap because that's
No,
after.
no, that's after. Um,
Yeah,
Something happens where they kind of reconnect back with Gail. She has on a different outfit, and she takes. No, this yeah, this is where Gail tells Detective Bailey, "Hey, I've done what you two fuckers haven't done. I've actually,
yeah,
I have a lead, and
yeah,
you don't." You know, the same thing
yeah,
Gail's always does, and it turns out that she's found this shrine, which everybody takes kind of a field trip to go to this shrine. That the shrine that we've seen. Um, and we find out that uh, she found it under the name of the two killers from Atlanta, the wannabe killers from Atlanta. Like it was tied to these guys come from money, so their daddy's money paid for to get all of this shit in the shrine. It's actual real evidence. It's not
yeah.
stab props.
And the excuse was, well, cops like money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Cops like how did they get this evidence? Well, cops like money, and they evidence gets lost all the time. So they have this big shrine, and there really wasn't much more than what we've seen in the trailers and the photos.
No,
There wasn't some
no,
extension to that, but it was what it was. And then we have a nice little scene where Kirby and Mindy, the two film nerds of the movie, it's kind of what I expected to see was to have Kirby and Mindy talk about horror, and they all have amazingly had the same answers. What's your favorite Friday the 13th movie? I
no.
think
That was the one they did. That was the one they didn't.
yeah, Mindy had Friday Part 2, and I think Kirby had Final Chapter.
Final chapter, yeah.
What were some of the other ones?
Nightmare on Elm Street. They both said the original.
Yeah,
Candyman was both the original and
right.
the requel. Um,
Yeah.
what was the, I can't remember what the other. I think there was one more. Was it Texas Chain? No, it wasn't Texas Chainsaw. It was. I can't remember. There was one more, but that was a cool scene. That was probably the only Kirby scene I actually enjoyed.
So they had a little, chit chat around the shrine, and then they decided, you know, they're gonna come up with a plan and use Tara and Samantha as bait, and they kick Gail Weathers out of there because she's the media. So Kirby and Detective Bailey are in it with the rest of them, and they're gonna try to what was it? They're gonna try to get Ghostface to call, and they're gonna try to triangulate his position.
Yeah, yeah, and they basically the reasoning was, he always calls from nearby. And what I
Yeah,
liked
he's
about
always
this,
nearby.
what I liked about this was, you got Kirby, tracing the call, but Mindy and Chad are in there, and they're like, what's the plan here? Uh, you think because it's broad daylight that Ghostface, isn't going to come out. How do you think our uncle died? And I
Yeah,
like that
yeah, that was a
callback.
nice touch. So it was very reminiscent of Scream 2 with Randy's, where Samantha and Tara are out strolling around the park, And then lo and behold, they get the call from Ghostface, and I can't remember what Ghostface said, but um,
Not much. Basically, like, you think I'm gonna fall for this? There's
yeah, I think I'm
cops.
gonna fall for this
Yeah, yeah.
bullshit, and the cops are gonna find me. And then Kirby triangulates the position and finds out, oh shit, this call's coming from all the way across the city on the Upper West
96th Street.
Side on 96th Street, and that's when they realize, oh shit, Ghostface is at Gail's apartment.
Yeah.
So we get so in the next scene we get a franchise first where Gail Weathers gets a call from Ghostface, and this fucking scene was the best scene in the movie.
It was good.
Gail's first rendezvous with Ghostface on the phone was a total hit.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
it was very good. Yeah, it was very good. Uh I thought that when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, okay, this could be cool, but it definitely exceeded expectations. I thought that especially because maybe a few days ago, maybe a week ago, we got kind of another little look at this. I think it
Yeah,
was from when Courtney Cox was on a late night talk show. So I was worried they blew the whole scene, but they did not. As far
they
as
did
showing
not. No,
everything,
they didn't.
I thought it was excellent. I thought Gail was smart. I thought it was believable how she reacted, and she didn't act like, some idiot who's, has her first run with the um, with a killer. So I thought it was very well done. Blake, I'll say
Yeah. Raphael says
actually, yeah,
Gail's
yes,
scene was amazing. I agree. It was amazing. Like
yeah,
from this scene on, the rest of the movie was awesome. Like
yeah.
nonstop awesome. I'm so glad we're here. But yeah, so Gail, she gets the shit stabbed out of her. Like, well, she put up a pretty good fight against Ghostface in this. I was very impressed. It was a Sydney esque stand that she
There,
took.
there were some good lines from Ghostface here too, saying, Sydney's always the star.
Yeah,
You'll never be the leading lady, and
and
things like
kind of
that. And he
taunting her
really,
for Dewey's
Dewey,
death.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, some pretty brutal things Ghostface said. I liked it.
but yeah,
Um,
Gail put
the
up
end
quite a
res
fight. Yeah,
the end result I wasn't a fan of.
yeah. So Gail got stabbed, and Samantha and Tara showed up just in the nick of time before Ghostface could give the coup de grace and put Gail out for good. But
Yeah,
they
obviously major
the,
spoiler here, but Gail
yeah,
did survive.
yeah,
Um,
Gail
I
does survive.
I the way the scene went and how Ghostface had the upper hand at the end, and she got stabbed pretty bad. I personally was like, all right, this is a good ending to her character. If they go through with it, and as much as they had the balls to kill Dewey last movie, they just couldn't do it. I wish they would have. I thought it would have been a fitting end to her character. Um, so I don't know how you like if they are gonna, if it gets to screen 12 or whatever, and Courtney Cox is still in these goddamn movies, I don't think you can concoct a better scene to have her die than the one they did this movie,
So let's
unfortunately.
go back and set the table. So while everybody's over at the park thinking that Ghostface is nearby, there's a couple of people that are there. Detective Bailey is there. Um, Ethan, who is Chad's roommate. At one point, Chad decides, where the fuck were you? Like
Yeah.
Ethan was not around when Annika was killed, when Quinn was supposedly
I'll say
killed.
this. Let me interrupt for a second. I'll
Uh,
say this. The way the quote unquote core four reacted to new people in their lives,
yeah,
questioning them and stuff,
yeah,
was extremely believable and extremely
yeah.
smart. I liked it.
So basically, Chad tells Ethan, you're not getting out of my sight." So Ethan is with Chad and the core four during all of this shit. Detective Bailey's across town. So what they're doing some good subversion, I think here. They made it very hard with some of the moves that they made. Like if you were in this watching it cold, you didn't know anything. It would have been very difficult for you to guess the conclusion of this. But I just wanted to kind of put where everybody was on the board. So, Gail, the paramedics get there in time. She's okay. So they decide, you know what? We're going to go back to the shrine. we're gonna fucking set up Ghostface. Only, Kirby's in on this, Detective Bailey, the Core Four, Ethan. So they're all, we're gonna get on the train. We're gonna go to the shrine, and then they set up this subway scene. What'd you think of the subway scene? So who do
Um,
we have there? We have Ethan, the Core Four, Ethan, and Danny,
Sam's new, yeah,
Sam's new boyfriend. They all get on. They're going to the train station, and what ends up happening is Ethan and Mindy kind of get split up from the group, and they miss the train. And Mindy, she is totally suspicious of Ethan. She's like, that motherfucker's Ghostface. Like she's
yep.
on to him. And I thought this was a good scene. So the other four, they're on the train, and there's people dressed in all kinds of Halloween costumes. Mini Ghostface on the train, so they're like, I mean, that's pretty tense. But Mindy and Ethan get on, and she's like, "Get the fuck away from me!" So he's at one end of the train,
Yeah.
she's at the other, and then there's a couple of costumed ghost faces on the train. And what'd you think of this scene? They showed a lot of it
So
in the
I
trailer.
They did, but I thought the execution of the tension and the
Hmm.
camera work in this scene was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed the way they kind of took their time with it. They were showing Ghostface. They showed people that were obviously not the Ghostface. Then they
hmm,
showed people that, ooh, this that could be a Ghostface, and you didn't know, you weren't really sure. Now obviously we had some knowledge based on the fact that Mindy and Ethan were split up, and from what we saw in the trailer, that
yeah,
this guy hunched down was going to be a ghost face.
yeah.
Um,
So,
so we had that knowledge. But my biggest issue with this scene is,
hmm,
as much as it was cool and believable that the crowd of people are kind of what separated
hold on,
hold on, okay, okay.
hold on. I think I know where you're going, but set the table. They make it very clear that Mindy's attacked on the train. They make it very clear that this was not Ethan. Ethan's right there. He doesn't have his mask. He has his backpack. Like, so go ahead. What you were gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say my biggest issue, as much as it was cool and kind of scary that you're in New York, so you get a crowd of people that's why they get
Hmm.
separated. I don't buy for a fucking second that Chad would not would get on that train without Mindy. That he would not
Yeah,
stop
that was
right in
yeah.
front of the train. That's the one thing I don't buy. And then
People
they
have gotten
just and
off
then,
the
oh, we
train.
can't. Yeah, we didn't hear from Mindy. Oh, she's 5 minutes behind us or whatever. It's like I don't buy that for a fucking second.
Yeah, but anyway,
But
so
yeah,
Mindy's stabbed horrifically, and Ethan rushes to her aid, and and then the plot hole of all plot holes, which we'll hold this in the back. I'm gonna write this down. Mindy and Ethan. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
so he takes her off to get help, and that's kind of the last we see of them for a little while, and we catch up with the rest. They show up to the shrine, this abandoned theater in the middle of the city somewhere, and as they're going in, Samantha gets a phone call from Detective Bailey, and what does he tell her?
He basically says that Kirby was fired 2 months ago from the FBI. She like
Yeah,
essentially not lost her mind, but something like she kind of went off the deep end.
went off the deep
And she's
end,
yeah,
and sure as shit enough, they go into this theater, and Kirby's already there, and she tells him, the only entrance up into there is if this is tripped, the killer's going to be locked in this cage, and he can't get out. She put padlocks and chains all around the elevator. So right now they're building up Kirby as a red herring. Yes, Scream 6 was very good, Andy. So everybody's there. They kind of take off their jackets, kind of get ready for what's to come. And then Chad and Tara have their little sweet moment where they kiss for the first time. And then this is where the shit, Kirby disappears at this point, right? She disappears. Well, I can't remember where she said she was running off to. Like she was going to check the perimeter or something.
something like that. Because then we cut to Sam can't
Oh,
find
before
anyone.
oh,
And
right, I forgot the part where before they go in there, they're about to go in there, and we talked about Danny, Sam's new boyfriend. And she's like, you know what? You
oh
need to.
yeah, yeah,
She's like, you need to fucking leave. I don't trust you. Don't take it personally, but I don't trust you. You need to leave. So Danny's like, you know what? I understand, and so Danny's not going to be a part of
yeah,
this final act, and he goes off to do whatever he does. He'll come into play later, but so yeah, that's where we are. We have Tara, Samantha, Chad, and Kirby. They're the only four at this point that are at the shrine. They're waiting for Detective Bailey to show up. So, Chad and Tara they have their kiss, and out of the shadows comes Ghostface and stabs Tara in the back.
yeah. Right when Chad leaned in and kissed Tara, I was like, oh, Chad's dead.
But
They,
no,
they they gave him that moment.
they switched it around on us and had Tara attack first. She was like stabbed right in the
Yeah,
fucking back, which she wouldn't have survived. And they start fucking fighting, right? All hell breaks loose, and then one of the coolest scenes, Chad,
yes,
he's attacked by one ghost face, and all of a sudden the second ghost face comes in, and they're like kind of like both just stabbing the shit out of him. And he's just on his knees, just
yeah,
saying, "Get out of here," while he's
yeah.
just
And
being
they were like,
repeatedly
yeah, they
stabbed.
were like synchronized. It was cool. It was
It
badass.
was like synchronized stabbing, and then they do the whole
Yeah,
where they
yeah, yeah,
take
yeah.
all the. That was a fucking cool scene.
It was.
So Samantha and Tara, they're kind of cornered by the two ghost faces. They're kind of in the front of the stage there, where they're standing back to back, and they're both holding bricks. And then all of a sudden, who came in first? They're about to attack, and then you hear gunshots,
Yeah,
and I think it was it Detective Bailey who came in first, or was it Kirby?
I think it was Kirby.
It was Kirby came in. She's like, someone knocked the shit out of her. She's
Yeah,
bleeding,
yeah.
and you know, at this point, you know, they bought into Detective Bailey's bullshit that Kirby, is a liar, and this is all her because they saw the padded up chain. They're like, fucking Kirby locked us in here. This is all Kirby. And Detective Bailey comes in with his gun, saying, "Hey, this bitch killed my daughter." And then this is where the big twist is. You know, Kirby's pointing her gun, Detective Bailey's pointing his gun. Samantha and Tara don't know who to believe. And then all of a sudden, a ghost face is coming up behind Detective Bailey, and Kirby's like, "Behind you!" And then all of a sudden, he fucking fires two slugs into her. She fucking drops, and we finally had our first killer reveal, and it is in fact Detective Bailey, and his two ghost-faced accomplices fall in behind him. So when you
Yeah.
see three killers for the first time in the Scream franchise, what are you thinking, Nick? Three killers.
It was cool. So we're under the assumption that Detective Bailey was the one that was wearing the really weathered mask, right? Billy's mask.
I don't think Detective Bailey did any ghost facing in this.
Oh, you don't?
I
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
I I think it was the
Um,
two
he was
kids.
just kind of the puppet master. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. I thought it was unique. Which, this whole movie was pretty unique for a Scream movie. But yeah, I liked it. Um,
So yeah, Detective Bailey, Samantha Tara's like you, and he's like, of course me.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like,
It's
I'm a
funny.
little bit disappointed in the two of you after what you did to us. And with that, and Tara's like, us, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the next ghost face takes his mask off, and it's fucking Ethan. So here's the big plot hole, the problem you had with Ethan. Go ahead.
That he saved Mindy
Yeah, he saved Mindy,
when they
apparently.
when it was just them two alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was odd. It actually makes zero sense because it was they were separated from the group. No, it's not like Mindy. It's not like someone would see him not save her, So he should have just walked away, let her bleed out.
Granddaddy Taku, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Yeah, maybe he did do the bodega scene. We'll talk about that in a minute because I remember something. So yeah, so he, what does Detective Bailey say? Ethan says, Mindy made a joke earlier about juking the roommate lottery, and Ethan's like, yeah,
Yeah,
Mindy was right. It was easy to juke the roommate lottery, and he says that, I mean, I had to put up with this bullshit piece of shit alpha chat named Chad, and
yeah,
uh, and then we're revealed to the third killer. Samantha was like, so she thought it was Mindy because
yeah,
she obviously believed that the person under there, who ended up being under there, was dead. So Samantha's like, the process of elimination. You're Mindy, and the ghost face reveals the mask. And of course, they had the fake out death. Quinn is not in fact dead. What'd you think of that? A fake out death, a la Scream 3 with Roman Bridger.
or a la Scream One with Billy too.
Oh,
But
true, true. Yeah,
yeah,
fake out death.
yeah. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. I mean, I guess I gotta think about it more. I gotta about what scenes we're supposed to believe this
Well, here's
redhead.
why I think it was brilliant, because it really helped for subversion. Because
True.
Detective Bailey, Ethan were all the way across town, so it was Quinn that in fact attacked Gail Weathers and Mindy on the train.
Yeah, true.
So it made it a little bit harder to, if you're watching this free and clear, to guess.
True.
That's and it was three killers, and then so Quinn takes her mask off, and we get into the typical small talk, and then we find out what their motive is. And this shrine room, Detective Bailey tells him that it wasn't the two dipshits from Atlanta that put this together. That in fact his son is Richie Kirsch, the killer from Scream 5, and he has been indulging his son's obsession with the stab movies and the ghost face, and he's been helping him accumulate all this evidence and build this
Right.
shrine room. All the while we find out, playing, the film that's playing in the background, it's Richie Hirsch's own homemade stab movie that he made when he was a
Yeah.
younger kid. So,
Yeah.
Detective Bailey's like, you know, I helped him grow this, build this. He loves his son, and then we find out that Ethan and what's her name,
Quinn.
Quinn, are Richie's. God,
Richie's.
I'm getting tired. Richie's brother and sister, and they're there for revenge because Samantha obviously killed their brother and son,
Yeah.
and that is our motive for this whole thing. And they're gonna set Samantha up for this whole thing. That she did it. She killed everybody. They're gonna blame it all on her, but it was just a simple
And that
revenge tale.
Yeah, and Quinn started the internet rumors that
Yeah,
were
Quinn started the
circulating.
rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were just there for outright revenge, very similar to Mrs. Loomis in Scream 2. And then
Yep.
so this is the thing I thought was cool. One by one, they talk about the masks,
Yeah.
and the last three masks. There's three masks left, obviously. Uh, which one was Annika had or not Annika? God, I'm getting so tired. Quinn, she had Stu's mask. She said
Stews.
Stu is my favorite killer.
Yeah.
So, and then Ethan had on Mrs. Loomis's mask, and then of course Detective Bailey had the OG Billy
Yeah.
Loomis's mask. So they were just kind of leaving all the masks, counting down, and then
And they
all
were
hell.
basically wanting, yeah, they wanted Sam to put on the Billy's mask, her birthright or whatever.
Yeah,
And it was cool
yeah.
that they mentioned that they also, having Mrs. Loomis's mask, you forget sometimes, but they
Mm.
mentioned it that that's Sam's grandmother. You know,
Yeah, so it's one crazy family on one side and another crazy family on the other side. That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool
And there,
where
what's
we've
interesting
ended
is
up.
there were certain points of this movie where Tara was looking at Sam kind of weird. When
Mm.
Sam was seeing,
Yeah,
oh God, we'll have to talk about
yeah,
Billy's shit because it's fucking ridiculous again.
yeah.
But yeah, continue, bud. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here.
So yeah, I think Kirby comes to and starts shooting her gun, and then everybody scatters. and then our ghost faces have lost control of their tightly concocted plan, and then just pretty much one by one, the typical Scream movie, the ghost faces are dispatched.
Yeah, and there's a
Uh,
good scene with Tara falling and Sam catching her, and kind of the theme that
yeah,
they had as sisters was earlier in the movie. You have to let me go, you have to let me go, because Sam's been so overprotective, and Sam
yeah,
hands her the knife
yeah. Before
and
this
lets her go
happens,
because she can
Samantha
handle
goes
herself.
into like GI Jane mode and like grabs a knife and a gun, and she's like ready for fucking combat.
Yeah,
And then those two, they end up upstairs. Tara's gonna fall to the bottom, and it's kind of a theme throughout the movie. Is Samantha is smothering Tara, and she needs to let her go, let her live her life. And that's
yep,
where this whole, turns out she was only like what 7 feet off the fucking bottom floor. So I
something
think
like
in
that.
the
Yeah,
trailer they made it seem like it was some big fall.
yeah,
So Samantha's like gives Tara the knife. She's like, "I'm gonna let you go," and she falls down onto Ethan's head.
yeah.
And
And what she
fucking
did with that knife was fucking
and he's
brutal.
he stabbed her right in the fucking stomach. So she's been stabbed in the back and the stomach. And she fucking lets him have it. Stabs him right through the fucking mouth.
Yeah, and then
Very
twist it.
brutal kill.
Oh,
Twist the knife.
oh,
And then
yeah,
Quinn and
brutal.
Samantha are there upstairs, and just right as Samantha has the gun, she's pointing it at Quinn, and just right as Detective Bailey gets up there, Samantha puts a bullet right between Quinn's eyes. So now, before his eyes, all of his kids are dead. And then Samantha and Detective Bailey, they like fucking tackle each other, and they go falling off. And then sometime later, Detective Bailey wakes up from his fall, kind of bloodied up, and then they turn Samantha into Ghostface all of a sudden. Detective Bailey gets a phone call. You want to let him know what happens? Detective Bailey gets his call. Samantha
Um,
has the Ghostface voice.
yeah, she basically, I can't remember exactly what the conversation is, but he's basically saying, "I'm a
No,
cop. Who do you think they're
she's
gonna?"
like, You're in my movie now." This is what she
Oh
says.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is my movie. Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
my
But
movie, and you're the star.
yeah, and then he says, "Well, I'm a cop. Who do you think they're gonna believe?" And she says, "I guess whichever one of us survives, or something like that."
And she basically
Um,
tells him that his son was a pussy ass bitch.
yeah,
Died like a pussy bitch, and then she
she
just
kills him.
stabs the fuck out of him. Like, you
Yeah,
could tell she's enjoying it, and Tara's like watching this, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on here with my sister?" But then
yeah.
she's finally, you know what? Fuck it. This is my sister. I love her. She's a homicidal maniac, just like her dad. And with that, all the Ghostface killers are dead, and we go. Danny did the right thing, and he went and got the cavalry. So
Yeah.
Danny comes busting in with the cops and lets them know that Gail is alive, Mindy's alive. They heard from both of them; they're alive.
And then Dewey gets wheeled out, or I mean, Chad gets wheeled
No,
out.
oh, and then we find out that Chad survived something that no person could survive. He would have bled to death. We find out Kirby is alive. Oh, when then we get I forgot. We get the comeback from the dead.
Huh.
Ethan wasn't
Oh
dead.
yeah, yeah.
Got stabbed in the throat. He had one little callback, and then as he was running to stab, Kirby throws Stu's TV on him. So we got the TV death
That's
all
right.
over again. And that's when the cops and Danny come in, and we're kind of off, and it's over. And they kind of tease that Samantha, she kept Billy's mask, brought it outside with her, smuggled it in her jacket. So they're kind of teasing that, oh my God, she's embracing the evil, but then she just throws it down on the ground.
Yeah.
And then her and Tara walk off, and that's it. That's the end of Scream 6. So that was it. Did I miss anything?
I'm sure we missed a lot, but as far as
Yeah,
important shit,
I
um,
think we nailed it.
yeah, yeah, I don't think so. That I'm already excited to rewatch this.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not gonna see it in
just to,
3D again. No way.
okay, yeah. I just want to see like the things I missed and things like that because there's a lot to like about this movie, and then there's a lot of
It's
things that are kind of like, I don't know how I feel about them yet. So it'll be interesting. I definitely gonna have to do a ranking video this weekend here and
yeah.
get
So
my thoughts together.
yeah, Mindy also comes running up after she's been like she just shows up like nothing happened, like she hadn't been stabbed twice in the stomach, slashed in the
Yeah.
arm. A little problematic. They need to really stop doing that shit. Like
Yeah, because we had at least, I mean, besides the fake out too, but we've got three characters
don't
in.
tell us that anybody could die and then have
Yeah,
this happen. Like
yeah,
it,
big issue there. Especially then, you're playing emotional music, especially with Chad. You're playing emotional music. Do not do that. Don't fuck with the audience. I think you're kind of fucking with the audience there. And I get it. I get it. You can say, okay, Dewey survive Scream One, he survived Scream Two. I have issues with that too. Um,
mm-hmm.
so I just feel like it's kind of a slap in the face to have these characters. You think they're dead, and then oh, they're not. I got a big issue with that. Yes, it's consistent with the franchise, but it's always been an issue with me in
Yeah,
this franchise.
Granddaddy Otaku says Chad survival in Scream 5 is okay because it was spur of the moment attack. Ghostface had to hide
Yep.
from.
Yes.
Yeah, so it would have been a perfect death for him. I think they should have let him die there. That would have been a very noble death.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was good in this. He was really good in this movie too.
So
Uh,
Granddaddy gives it 7.5 out of 10. Nick, where do you land out of 10 right now?
Probably exactly the same as Granddaddy there. I think,
I would say
and
8 out of 10.
it was you.
Mm-hmm.
Scream Five or Scream Six for you?
We'll say that again. I'm sorry.
Five or six? Scream Five or Scream
Six.
Six?
Six.
Six. So for me,
I do like that they've elevated Richie a little bit
yeah,
as a
yeah,
more
yeah.
of a mastermind. Like I'm wondering if there could be more from that in Scream
I think
7.
five. I think five's a much better movie, but I can see myself wanting to rewatch
Mm-hmm.
six more. Um, it's interesting. Now, you actually had in your ranking Ghostface ranking video that you did maybe 10 days ago or something like that. I think you had Richie number two already,
I
right?
did. Yeah.
This could solidify that for you, because I feel like
Yeah.
this makes Richie possibly stronger.
Oh man,
Um,
I
yeah,
loved when Samantha and after they killed Bailey, they walked out. Richie's movie was playing. He made a fan
yeah,
film when he was younger,
yeah, I love when she walked out and it said directed by Richie,
directed by
whatever his name.
Richie Hirsch. Yeah,
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 I
that
was
was
like, wait a
cool.
second. And I like had a pause for a second because I thought that was like the actual credits of the movie. Uh,
No, that
and
was
I was like, wait, have we
Richie's
been watching a
movie.
movie now?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I thought we might have been watching
and
a
he
movie
did
in a
have a
movie the whole
cameo. He
time.
did have a speaking role. Richie did in his movie,
Yeah, I
where he was
assume
a
that
very
was.
very young looking man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I assume Dennis Quaid might have filmed that. Uh, you know,
And
but
then going back to one thing I glossed over with Detective Bailey, I liked his speech where he talked about how you know Richie, he basically conceded that he was a killer, right? But then he said like it was like he might have been okay with it until he saw the crime scene photos of what she did to him, where
yes,
she stabbed him 22 times and cut his throat, and that's what kind of set
yes,
him out
y-
on this plot of
yes.
revenge. Yeah.
You know what'll be tough to rank as far as ghost faces. You know how we rank our ghost faces, and obviously there's multiple ghost faces in every movie except for one. I feel like it's easy to distinguish, where I feel like I rank Stu and Billy and each of them on an individual level. But I don't know, it might be harder to rank these ghost
Well, I
faces
can
in
tell you
this
right now,
without as a collective.
Ethan, by getting Mindy help, Ethan is worse than Charlie now. He's the worst Ghostface. Ethan is the worst Ghostface in the franchise.
I don't know about that.
Quinn, I will, we'll revisit that, but she did her little scene where she attacked Gail was good, even though
Yeah.
she was grunting like a man. I don't know why that always happens in Scream movies when the
Yeah,
female
I mean,
killer. But
yeah,
yeah, I liked Quinn when she was, where she's like, you basically call Samantha a motherfucker, you lying motherfucker.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah.
let's get
It'll
to
be
some of the
interesting.
comments. Scream Six
Yeah,
plot holes in New York. I can. Them getting the DNA back in seconds was kind of a problem. They
yeah,
found
and
uh, they
there's
found Roman Bridger's DNA. They found Charlie and Jill's DNA. So they
yeah,
found all their DNAs really fast.
yeah,
Quinn attacked Gail like she was a superhero. It couldn't have been the other two. Then in the final act, she was useless. It's a good point.
yeah.
She was useless. Uh, you said good point, guys. I think it was too realistic that Sam would be blamed. Like she's the perfect patsy.
Oh yeah.
People will often rationalize their irrational conclusions. Another plot hole. Why did Ethan save Mindy? Stupid. Blaming San online was one of the better things in this movie. Good social media commentary. Plenty of people believe anything they read. That's true, especially
Yep.
online. Yeah, there was a scene we forgot to mention where Samantha and Tara, the gang, were walking on the
Yeah.
sidewalk, and then some bitch just throws a drink in Samantha's face, calls her a killer. So yeah, you're right. That word of
Yeah.
mouth definitely played into that. Movie DNA tests are faster than real life DNA tests. Yeah. Wayne Turner, his Scream rankings now from best to worst: Scream 96, Scream 4, Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 5. He did not like Scream 6.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that don't like this movie.
Okay, another major plot hole. Too far fetched that Ghostface could hide who they are related to, especially Bailey. Failure of police, FBI, and media. Yeah, how did Kirby not figure out? That's another thing where they dropped the fucking ball with Kirby. If she's supposed to be some super FBI agent, she couldn't have connected those dots.
Well, especially if she's been monitoring their internet
Right.
activity with huge files, so you're
Like
not monitoring who they're talking to.
like they just didn't. Yeah, maybe there are too many.
Yeah,
There, dude, a lot of fucking plot holes in this. The acting by
I
the
mean, there's
ghost
probably
face at the end was terrible, not frightening though. I think it was how they were written. Bailey was pathetic, especially. I thought Detective Bailey was okay. I mean, he was explained everything. Sam was supposed to be early. Yeah, we were talking about it. Scream 7 prediction. One ghost face, either Richie's mother or Sam, Tara's mother, or a long lost secret brother sister of Sam. Yeah, I think they're following a very distinct pattern here, where they could do some Scream 3 where there's a mastermind. I think they could definitely
great.
do that.
Ramp up, great. Like, ramp up the stew talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after so Stu surviving really isn't that crazy now, considering what these people went through and survived. So
True, but Stu being smart enough to
maybe that's
mastermind
why.
things
Maybe that's
is
why they're
crazy. Is
doing what.
crazy.
Maybe that's why they're doing this to make it plausible that Stu could have
Yeah,
survived that
right.
shit.
I mean,
Uh,
well, clearly they listen to the shit because there's certain I can't think of something specifically, but there's certain dialogue in here. I think specifically things that like Mindy says that almost is like feeding on some of the internet rumors or squashing some internet rumors that I've
mm-hmm,
heard. You know, it's interesting.
yeah. Really hope Scream 7 will have disconnected killers, but this time they are just much more capable. Like perhaps someone who has already been killing for 20 years and then decides to take up the Ghostface mask.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh Segara as Danny is supposed to be the character with no personality. Normally, Josh has a personality. I think he was just kind of a blank slate. Like they didn't want you to. They want you to definitely be suspicious of him,
who's
but
that?
maybe Danny,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Sam's boyfriend. Maybe he'll. I think he'll be back. Hopefully, but just pulled a Mike Francesa on Nick Push.
I don't know what that means.
Look, Porsche was so boring he put Bud to sleep. Yeah, I am getting tired. Let's not push.
Dude,
Um,
you're reading text messages instead of the chat.
am I? See, I am tired. Um, Scream 6 only kill characters no one cares about. The movie of characters with no real stakes. I could see that argument.
Yeah, you could make an argument though that that happens in most Scream movies besides, Randy and Dewey,
Yeah.
and the original, like Scream 3, okay, Cotton, okay. Scream 4, not really anyone we
Yeah,
care about.
Granddaddy says, as much as he loves Gail, it would have been a great ending to her character. I agree.
Mhm.
That would have been a good scene for Gail to go out on. Sidney Prescott was not in Scream 6, but they did mention Sidney. Gail informed Samantha and Tara that, due to the new
Yeah. And Mark and the
Ghostface
kids they
outbreak,
mentioned, yeah.
they took the kid, Mark and Sidney took the kids and went into
Let's
hiding.
let's let's talk about that for a second.
Uh-huh.
I know we're both tired, but
Yeah.
I I I enjoyed the fact that Sydney was not in this movie, and I love Sydney, favorite final
Mm-hmm.
girl ever. But would it be believable that Ghostface is attacking again? Oh, Sydney's coming to what, give advice or anything? Like Gail, fine. Gail lived in New York. It at least was a little more plausible. Sydney wasn't needed in this movie at all for this story. If she showed up randomly, it would have been shoehorned in. And obviously, they had different plans when they wanted Ned to be in the middle or in this movie, and things fell apart behind the scenes. But I didn't mind her not being in this movie at all.
Well,
I thought
I
it was
think
fine.
she definitely has to be back for 7.
Think so?
I do, yeah. Um, let's see. Granddaddy says he thought the Gale scene was great. He wished they'd had the balls to kill Mindy. Andy Smith asked, "Was it any good?" Yes, it was good. Chad's
Yeah.
vicious stab scene should have been his death. We said that. And Granddaddy thinks that Detective Bailey had to have done a few kills, especially the bodega scene. Can we talk about the bodega scene? And
Yeah.
remember a couple months back when I told you I was up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and I was scrolling through
You saw that
Twitter.
picture.
I saw a
Yeah.
photo. It was in the bodega. It looked like it might have been a behind the scenes photo where Ghostface is holding the shotgun, but he doesn't have his gloves on and he just has his wedding band on his left hand that Detective Bailey wore. And that I'm wondering, and all of us, I went back to look for that, and that motherfucker got scrubbed from the internet. So they were
Interesting.
they were on top of shit. I think that could have been Detective Bailey. He had on his wedding band. Let's see here. Cool. Granddaddy said it was. What'd you think of them having 3 killers? Did they do it right? First time having 3 killers. They've had one. They've had two. First time having three.
Yeah. I
Uh,
I liked it.
I don't see how they don't go back to that because it gives them more flexibility.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I like that there
yeah,
was clearly one of them that was essentially in charge of the situation, obviously being their
yeah,
father. I like the dynamic of that. I thought it was cool.
yeah. Stad got Chad. Oh, God, Jesus
I
Christ.
you know what pisses me off, dude? So Ghostface, obviously, when Dermot Maroney and Kirby are having their face off or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
Ghostface kind of comes up from behind on Detective Bailey. They obviously had like a big thing in mind there where you think he's gonna get it, but obviously they're in
Yeah.
cahoots. It was fucking ruined for me, man. Oh, I would have loved to have a reaction to that, and not have it be ruined for me. It really pisses me off
But
that
the
some
leak.
asshole did that to me. Yeah,
Yeah, man,
yeah,
that
because
was
yeah.
brutal.
Ah,
Now we can
sucks.
talk about my old videos. So I called out Ethan. I called my shot in January 5th.
He did.
I called my shot that Ethan and Detective Bailey were the killers. And
Where were you on January 6th?
I was, I don't know.
Oh, 5th, you
I,
said
I
January
was
5th.
watching the views come in on that video and it failed miserably on January 6th. But yeah, so they put him in the marketing and they had him there. And to me, that was the stupidest thing they could have done.
Who, Jack Champion?
They had Jack Champion and both Detective Bailey with the rest of the
Yeah,
cast, and I was like, they're the
yeah,
killers. That's why I called that
yeah,
shot, and it turned out to be right.
yeah.
And so yeah, I was on top of this from the get go.
You were
Uh, yeah.
impressive.
To be fair, Sidney Prescott also became Ghostface for a few minutes. That's true.
Yeah, that is true.
But she didn't like stab Roman 20 fucking times. And no, that was in
That was the first
Scream.
one.
Oh, but she only
Yeah,
stabbed him with the fucking umbrella. Like she didn't
true,
like stab him 20
true.
times and
And then she
gouge his
ripped. Yeah,
eye
then she
out.
ripped it
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
She didn't gouge his eye out and
she did make a call though too.
yeah. And when she shot Roman, she had remorse. Held his hand as he died. So I
Mhm.
don't think you can compare the two. Raphael liked it, said 8 out of 10. That's what I give it right now. We'll see what happens. Dewey survived a couple stabs. Chad was stabbed. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
no
right.
man, like any person that was stabbed, like Gail, I think she would have bled out. Mindy would have bled out.
Although
Like
you see Chab's abs. I mean,
Tara,
those are pretty impressive.
Tara, she was stabbed in the stomach and the back, and it was like nothing happened.
That's Jenna Ortega plot armor.
They need to really like recalibrate that.
Too late now.
Instead of stabbing the shit out of people and make them not suspects, they just need to,
Yeah,
yeah, just don't get them fucking stabbed at all.
yeah.
I think Ethan kind of liked Mindy. I agree, but he may not have wanted her to die. Well, she was accusing him pretty much the whole movie, so maybe he just
I,
couldn't
I,
give her the fucking satisfaction.
I did love when Mindy, she obviously the text didn't go through, but when she's trying to text Chad and said, on the bus with Ethan, aka GF, as in Ghostface. I thought that was funny.
Raphael can't wait to rewatch it. I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna take my nephews to see it on Sunday.
I was gonna say, I kind of want to go on Sunday and watch it again. Yeah.
I'm gonna take my nephews.
I
They
wish
could do.
movies weren't so expensive, man.
Oh, yeah, they are
Apparently, I
expensive.
need a new computer. So
Well, I spent 20 for the tickets. I took my wife, and then we've spent $60 on food and drinks. So that's how they make their money.
yeah,
Yeah, Granddaddy says he can accept some people surviving a couple stabs, but I mean, in some of the places they got stabbed too. Like,
even the chick that was thrown off the ladder, like the fact that
yeah,
she was able to contort her that she was still conscious and then able to contort her body on that ladder based on where she was stabbed is unrealistic as fuck.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, so the movie had a lot of plot holes. I'm gonna see it again. I'll be looking for things I missed. Someone asked about
Yeah.
celebrity cameos earlier. I didn't notice any. Um,
You know what kind of sucks about breaking movies down like this?
what?
Maybe I'm just overtired here, but
Oh yeah,
you
I'm
know,
fucking exhausted too.
but obviously we have YouTube channels now, and we're especially you and I, we've talked a lot
Hmm.
about Scream and things like that. So I'm watching the movie, and I'm watching it intently to be able to talk about it and things like that instead of just relaxing and enjoying the movie. I'm looking for plot holes. I'm looking for this. I wish I could just sit down and enjoy a movie like this back like the old days. Sometimes having a YouTube channel, like as much as it's great because we get to talk to each other, we get to talk to people
Yeah.
in the chat. Sometimes, we might be a little too harsh about certain things. So I kind of want to rewatch this and just kind of sit back,
Yeah.
get some popcorn, and just kind of
Well, when
enjoy
you
myself.
have the DNA plot hole where they get the DNA results
Yeah,
back within minutes,
but
like
some things are just like, come
like you
on,
can't
really?
overlook that. Like, come on. But I mean, that's
Yeah,
just the
agreed.
writing right there. They should have maybe just left the leaving of the masks. I don't know. Maybe there's some
Yeah,
other way they could have tied the masks to the
yeah. Like, had it
killers.
be obvious whose mask
Yeah,
it is, and
yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, that's it's finally out, and
Well, and wouldn't they also have the DNA of whoever was the last person to touch it too?
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Like, how did Detective Bailey know to white? Well, I mean, okay,
I guess because it's him.
Here.
Maybe
Okay,
maybe
maybe
maybe that's the
maybe we have a way out of this. Maybe Detective Bailey was just bullshitting.
that's extremely possible. Because otherwise it'd be the DNA of his family members.
Yeah, Joe says
What's up,
everybody
Joe?
has to be as superhuman as the killer now. Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. Kirby was a pretty disappointing in this movie, but it wasn't her fault. It was the writing.
I so I disagree. I thought Hayden's performance was fucking terrible. And like I said, it pains me to admit that. I know I know the writing and stuff didn't do her any favors, but her acting was some of
Mm,
the worst acting I've ever seen. And I
yeah.
think it's probably just going to be just me saying that
Well, it was her
as
first.
people.
It was her first role in like 4 or 5 years. So I mean, maybe she's just a little rusty. I'll give her the
She
benefit
was
of
a
the doubt, and
she was a lot
yeah,
rusty. She's like based on what I saw in Scream 6, she needs to retire because that was fucking terrible.
she just needs acting more stuff. She'll be fine. She's a good actress before. She was great in four.
She was great in Remember the
She
Titans.
has it. She has it in her. She's had some struggles in her personal life and all
Well,
that. But it was good to see
I
her
know
back.
her brother just died, I believe, and here I am railing
Well,
on her.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna give her the benefit of the doubt, and
I'm just, you know what I'm doing? I'm being extra harsh on her, so she reaches out to me
mm-hmm.
and asks for some help, or come,
Acting
yeah,
advice. Yeah,
yeah, or comes at me, to kind of clear her name. She'll want to be on my channel. So Hayden, if you want to come on my channel and defend your performance, I'm available anytime. Anytime I get a computer, or a real computer that actually starts
well,
working.
you just need
Um,
to take it to the Geek Squad and have
yeah,
them fix it. It's probably
yeah, I'll
something
just
simple.
cleanse it. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Probably need to download some of the porn, maybe. No, I'm joking. All right.
I know.
Well, did you want to have any words in closing before I take us out?
Not really. This is fun to break down. We I can't believe we just saw it. We saw the movie. We've been talking about it forever. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
both of us are gonna have our own, ranking videos or whatever in the coming weeks here. And obviously we'll have to reconvene and do this again at some point in the near future as well.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, I don't really know. I'm just so damn tired.
Me too. Joe's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna say it looks like your setup is different. Yeah, Joe, I'm on my phone right now because I tried going live earlier, and for the third time in a row, something's up with my internet's fine, but when I'm connecting to the stream and Zoom and everything, my connection's awful. So something's up with my computer. So Bud was a good sport and scrambled, and we got this on his channel, and I'm on my phone like an amateur right now. So it happens, but it's
Yeah.
annoying.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
sorry.
appreciate it, man.
It was a good breakdown. We were kind of all over the place, and when you first see the movie, it's hard to keep everything in sequential order. But we did the best we
It
could.
was.
Want
Yeah,
to thank
it's fun.
everybody for the comments and the chat. I don't know. We may have to do something again after everybody's been able to see it. That way we can
Yes.
have a good lively discussion and
Yeah.
some perspective, some time to ruminate over it. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Ruminate.
It is. It is tonight.
But all right, I thank everybody for tuning in. We're gonna call it a night, and we'll see you guys
All
on the next one. Good night.